you press this little arrow button where your like title is, and then it'd say duplicate to your drafts. And then you just press that, and it should say file duplicated to your drafts, and then you can just open.
Thank you.
Okay, it's
Does anyone else
4:06.
have any other questions about that?
Okay, it's 4:06. I think we can get started. Angela, the floor is yours.
Okay, my Wi-Fi just said it was unstable, so let me know if you can't hear me. But I will just say, hello everyone, my name is Angela. I am a PM for reviews on DTI and also A for AppDev's DPD. Today, I will be leading the workshop called Power Figma, and I'm super excited to teach you guys some of the basics of Figma. I just want to preface this by saying, warning, design does not mean Figma. You can have something beautiful and aesthetic, but that doesn't mean it's good design if it doesn't have functionality. Design requires intentionality. The reason why we created these workshops is because we want to give our fellow Cornellians the ability to create what they wish existed. So now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about creation. So some easy tricks to now Figma. Figma can be a big and scary things you can do to make it easier. Zooming in, like so. Command minus to zoom out. Shift 2 to zoom into the current selection. So select this element by pressing Shift 2. Shift 1 to show the entire canvas. Press and Shift N to zoom into the previous. Moving around in general, you can use the 2-finger gesture. So just 2 fingers on the trackpad. And you can zoom in, zoom out like that. For everyone else, to space bar and go up, you can use that. Just some we can naming. So what you don't want to do is just have a bunch of text, rectangles, circles everywhere without labeling them or grouping them. Get messy really quick. Unions, which we'll talk about later, name each. Is if you item see instead of just willing, you can press Command G and hey guys, sorry, did my Wi-Fi cut out?
Yeah. Screen stop sharing too.
I will go back to what I last left off on. Can someone tell me what you heard last?
Can you just start over from the naming and organizing layers, please? Actually, I think that'd be helpful.
Cool, thank you for telling me. So for organizing and naming layers, you want to make sure to keep everything organized, especially with bigger files. It's hard to go back and edit things, so you want to make sure you're organized. What you don't want to do is have random things floating around. So for the submit button, there's just a text submit and a rectangle for the button. What you do want to do is you want to create a group with this. You want to group those items together, which is just selecting them and pressing Command G. And then you want to name the elements themselves. So for example, we label the button here instead of just having rectangle number 1, which makes it easier when if you look back at your design later on, you're like, oh, what is this rectangle? Additionally, for like elements in general, you don't want to just have it there like subtract, which is the preset name. You want to rename it to something a little bit more descriptive, like moon. For home, you can see on the inside, we labeled it roof, and we even label like door, house, just to make sure we know what's going on. Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay, cool. So some other helpful tips are some ninja shortcuts to make you guys a pro at Figma. When I was taking DPD, I spent a lot of time just like trying to navigate everything. So these are super helpful if you take the time to learn them. So on the top bar, some basic things you can see are like here. They give you the keyboard shortcut R, L, L. So R would be like creating a rectangle. Instead of having to go up here and pressing rectangle, you can just press R on your keyboard and then create a rectangle right there. Line, arrow, you can like look at these more in depth later. You can also create a frame and slice. Again, they're here easily for you to see. And you can access the pen and pencil tool. So here they're labeled as well. Some other fun things you can do is bring things forward and backwards easily. So I will show you an example. Using the keyboard shortcut we just learned, by pressing R, we can create a square super easily. And then we can create another square. I will just make one of the squares red to see it better, but to bring something forward is just Command square bracket, right square bracket. So you select the item you want to bring forward and then press Command square bracket. And as you can see, the square went in front of the red square. Now to bring it backwards, just do Command left square bracket. And swap fill and stroke is just Shift X. So as you can see, instead of being filled in, it is now a stroke. And if it's a stroke, then you can just fill it in easily, which is super helpful. To flatten a selection, you can make something a vector, which means that instead of being able to like control it separately, you control it as like a unit. So if I select both items, which is, you can just press Shift and click on both items. And then when you do Command E, it becomes a vector, and you'll see that it's labeled a vector on the left. Now for text, you can just press T and start writing hello. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Hello. You can just check out colors. You're like, oh, what color is this? And you can just see it really easily. To add a comment in case you're working with someone else, you're reviewing like someone else's design, just press C and leave a comment like, hey, post that. Yeah, if you guys want to look more in depth into this, you can see there's a link over here where you can download Figma's keyboard shortcut collection. Okay, so now on to some more fun stuff. We can start trying to recreate elements. So the first thing we're going to be doing is learning about masking. For example, what if I wanted to put myself in this lovely frame? I can't exactly like do this because the background is still there. So what I can do is I can create a rectangle of the shape that I want to constrain my image. So I'll make that round, and I can make it a mask, something that will constrain my image, you know, like crop my image. Then I just have to press this little moon icon on the top right here. And it'll become clear. But you can just drag your image and boom, I am now inside of a frame. How exciting. So you're not always putting your face in frames. That's not as common, but something a little bit more common would be creating like a profile icon with your face as a circle. So if I just create a circle, sometimes it puts it inside masking elements, like your last mask for some reason. So if it is in there right now, you can just drag it out. And again, you just press this little crescent at the top and it says use as a mask. So after I press it, it makes it a mask. And then I can just drag my image into it. Figma usually does a good job of knowing when you want to make something like mask, but if it doesn't, you can look on your left and you can see it's labeled mask group. So you just want to drag your image into that group. And boom, you can see that my face is in the circle. Something that always tripped me up was I always had to make sure that this image here was on top of the shape that I created as a mask. If it's under, then it won't work. Okay, so let's learn about the circle and polygon properties. So for the circle, if you double click on the circle, then you can see these 4 dots here and you can actually manipulate these dots. So after you double click, you can move these little dots around and you can even adjust the angle. So you can start making blobs of all shapes and sizes, which is very cool. You can also create arcs. If you want to create a pie graph, you can create ratios. And from that, we can make a progress bar right now. So these square edges, we can make them a little cooler. Let's make them round. Something that might be a good idea is let's make this a gradient. So you can go down to fill right here and you press on the color. And here it says solid, but we don't want that to be solid. Let's make that a bit fun. Let's make it a gradient. So we can press linear and say we make it green. We can change the angle of our gradients. And boom, now we have made a progress bar. Now what about the polygon? So this polygon it's not just a triangle. We can do so much more with it. So if you hover over the bottom right corner, there is something called count, and you can change that and make it a square, pentagon, hexagon, anything you want. Let's make an octagon. You can even change it on the right bar over here. So yeah, like if I want to make it 10, but let's make a stop sign today. So we can make that red. It's very jarring red, I'm sorry. But yeah, right, stop. Make that white. Okay. And there we have a stop sign. It's slightly sideways. Now let's try to recreate the home icon of Instagram. So with all the information we have now, we can copy this over and we will try to recreate it on top of this, just so we don't have to eyeball it, make our lives a little bit more easy. Can anyone tell me how might we break up this icon into 3 different shapes so we can easily create the home icon? Don't be shy, guys. Okay, it's okay, guys. It's probably been a long week, but to recreate the home icon, we can just use a rectangle, two rectangles, and a triangle. This way you don't have to draw out everything, which takes a really long time. So let us create the front door first. So the front door can just be a rectangle. We can round the edges. Round the edges a little bit to look correct. So if you want to do that, you just go here. I only wanted the top two to be rounded. So I press this icon and then I just change the according like corner. If I wanted to change everything, I could have just done 20 for all of them, but I don't. I want to do 40 for just the top ones. Okay, so now let's create the bottom of the home, which is also a rectangle. Okay. And if you select those both, what we don't want is the door. So there's this really handy tool called Subtract, where it's on the top. And if you select two items, you can just go to the menu bar here and then you press Subtract Selection. So whatever is overlapping will disappear and boom, it is gone, which is super fun. Now, the last part of our home is the roof. So we can use a Polygon tool to create the roof. And if I select the bottom that we just created in the polygon, I can actually add them together because right now they're two pieces and we want that to be just like act as like a whole. So we can press union selection and boom, you can see now that this is a home. We can call it house, roof, door, and base, just to follow our rules about layers that we learned about earlier. And we want to add like an outside outline, which is called stroke. So on the right bar, you can just press plus for stroke. Say we want that to be like 15. And you want to get rid of that fill on the inside. Thinner. You can even go to these three little dots and add like rounded corners. Yeah, add rounded corners so it's a bit more round. And there we have our recreated home. Does anyone have any questions about this? Oh, I just saw your chat. But yeah, you are right. Okay, cool. Feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions. Okay, and now we can create the search icon. Whoa. So it's just an ellipse. And we can add a stroke. Make that 15 again. We can get rid of the fill because we don't want that gray on the inside. And we can add a line. Make that matching 15. So our corner is not round like this one. So what we can do is inside stroke, we can press the three dots and we can add a cap to it. So we can make it round. And there we go. We have our search icon. Beautiful. Okay, awesome, guys. So now we are going to try and recreate a screen from Instagram. So how might we break this down into bits and pieces that we might use over and over again to make this in screen? We might want to break that piece. Does anyone have any ideas? If you guys have ideas, we on, but we can do hey guys, sorry for the bad Wi-Fi. I don't know what's going on right now, but hello. Ooh. Hi. I will try to connect to my personal hotspot right now, and I might leave for a second just to try to connect. All right, so I don't know where you last heard off, but I'll just do a little brief intro to what I was saying. So we can break down this original screen. We're going to try to recreate Instagram, and we can break it down into little pieces to make it easy for ourselves later. So I said that we can do this part separately. And we can also have the stories as a separate section. Then the post itself. And last but not least, the navigation bar. Okay, cool. So you can break down the screen, and we're just going to recreate two parts of the screen right now. So to recreate a part of a screen that already exists, I usually like to have a copy and then create on top of it. I would just like put this at 50% opacity. We'll just have that as the icon. Okay. And then now let's create the ring around your story. So let's say that's around like 64 maybe. Maybe like 68. Okay. So we want the ring. We don't want the gray circle. So we're just gonna add a stroke. Thickness, maybe 3. And we don't want it to be black. We want it to be that really cool gradient that Instagram has. So we can just go and click on that like black square. We don't want it to be black. So we click on it. We press the drop down here, and we want that to be linear instead of solid. So when you press on linear, you can see that it allows us to have a really cool gradient. Now to change colors, you just press that top square, and I'm just gonna color pick pink, that pink. Ooh, that did not work. I'm just gonna color pick this pink and the brightest yellow as well. Oop. I keep on missing it. Okay, there we go. And just to make the gradient more similar, I'm just gonna shift it a little bit as well. And boom, we have made Instagram's gradient, which is really cool. I'm gonna get rid of that fill on the inside, just pressing subtract. And yeah, there we go. I will add some text. So just your story. That looks thin. Make it white. Oops. White. Move it there. And yeah, guys, we have created Instagram's story. Whoa, aren't you guys excited? Okay, so now we can create the navigation bar. We already created the home, so, and the spotlight. And just to speed things up a little bit, I'm gonna use this icon tray for Instagram. So again, I'm just gonna copy what I want, make it at like 50% opacity and just build on top of it. So I'm just gonna take these. And put them there. Can do profile icon, which is just a circle. And little notification bell. I will just change that to this color. There's also another one there, so I will put that right there. Okay, and now if we turn that image to hidden, you can see we recreated the navigation bar. Very fun, guys. Okay, next we'll be learning about components. So components make it really easy for you to create images over and over again. So for story, instead of just copy and pasting each and every one of these, I will just move this component down, but I can just create a component, which is Option Command K, or you can press this icon at the top that says create component. It looks like 4 squares. But yeah, again, if you want to use a shortcut, it's Option Command K. So this would be our like master component where everything will be copied off of. To create a instance of a component, which is just like a copy of your master, you can just do Command C and Command V, so paste it as per usual. Okay. And what's really cool about components is, for example, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in dark mode, the colors are a little bit more dull than in light mode. So in light mode here, these colors are a lot brighter. I will put them side to side. Yeah, so what we can do is we can just change our master and all of the other colors will change instead of going into each and every one of these little circles and changing them manually. So let me just change that. Again, to change the gradient, you just go back to stroke, you press on the little square, and you can change it to be linear there. But I'm going to choose this brighter color here. Oh, I went back to solid. I'm going to choose that brighter color. And for the other color, I will choose that yellow. Oh, why did it go back? Okay, it's not cooperating with me, but you get the idea. I changed the master and all of the other ones changed along with it. Now for the navigation bar, we can do something similar. And just a quick note on navigation bars, you usually always want to put it in a frame. This makes it easier to change items inside instead of a group, because in a group you would have to double click. It also makes it easier to duplicate. So again, to make something a component, you can go on the top navigation bar and press create component. You can click on the little 4 squares, or you can do Option Command K. So now you see that this is lit up purple. It says it has a little component symbol on the left and it's navigation. So again, if I change something in the master component, which is the item that I made the original component, then any instance, so anything that I create a copy of the master will also change. So say I want to get rid of this notification. I delete it. You can see that that also deleted there. And I will show you another example. Like if I delete this one as well, it will also delete here on the instance. But keep in mind that if you change an instance, that won't change the master. So if I were to add a profile picture, for example, then in this instance, I changed the profile picture, but my master has stayed the same, which is really cool because you can like work off of an instance and create like different variations of it. Does anyone have any questions? Again, feel free to unmute at any time. Okay, awesome, guys. So now let us move to the next thing. You may have noticed that I had a lot of icons pre-made, and that's because of community on Figma. I didn't have community when I like started doing DPD, which was really rough. I had to create everything by hand, which obviously is not ideal, but now there's this really cool thing called community. So to get there, you can just like press the Figma home and then press community. It's in beta, but there's all of these, oh, this is in plugins, but there are all of these really cool things that you can download that other designers have already pre-made. So yeah, that's a really helpful tool for you guys. I highly suggest checking it out when you have the chance. Additionally, there's also some really cool plugins that you can have. To get there, you can do the same thing and go to community and then press plugins. What you can also do is you can go to your top navigation bar and press plugins. One of my favorite ones is Arc. It's pretty random, but I'll just show you how it works. For example, oh, so small. So hello, right? And I don't know why Figma doesn't have this. I guess it's not that necessary, but I like the idea of it. You can press arc and you can make it like art. So I can press apply and boom, I will have my text art. Something else that's really cool that I like is iconify. I can just drag icons anytime I want. I can change the color and I don't have to go on a different website and search for it, which are super helpful. Okay, we're making good time, but next we are going to create our own screen on Instagram. Using all the knowledge that we have compiled so far, we can finally create our own screen. Because we only have like 10 minutes for this activity, we're gonna cheat a little bit. We have some trays from the wonderful community on Figma that I just showed you. And you guys can either use those or you guys can try to create them yourselves, but it may take a little bit more than 10 minutes. But yeah, we can all create the screens together now. That is my Instagram, by the way. If you guys want to follow me, you can. Okay, so I'm first going to start off by creating the profile. I'm just going to copy this really cute dog over. Oh, I forgot to make a copy of what I'm trying to recreate and make it at 50% capacity. Okay, so I'm just going to place this dog on top. I'm going to drag these buttons over. Can get the story tray. Header. Bottom navigation bar. Some snazzy pics. Okay. Can you get that username? Okay, and if we make this image hidden, oh, wrong image. Okay, great. So now we've basically recreated the original screen. We can now go on to the feed. So we can copy this bar over here. Oh, let me copy over this. But can take this bar over here. You can get these stories from the story trays. Honestly, this is much easier. I did Instagram for my case study and I redid the entire thing, which was quite fun.
I think your picture isn't in the frame.
Oh, sorry.
I think your picture isn't in the frame.
Oh,
Like it's
Oh.
on top of it, which is probably why like every time you put the tray in, like it'll get into the frame, but like your picture won't.
okay. I see. I see. This frame. There we go. This, and then I'll move the story tray on top. Okay, thank you. Okay, and now we will put an image there. The user header. How's everyone else's screens going, by the way?
Mine's going pretty good.
Awesome. Happy to hear that. Okay, cool. How is everyone else doing? Do you guys need more time to recreate your screens? Do you guys have any questions? Let me know if you have any other general questions as well about Figma at all, not even just about like recreating the screen.
Angela, are we done here? No questions?
What?
Angela, there's no questions and you finished recreating the screens, right?
Yeah.
Oh wait, someone has a question actually. I'll read it for you. Hey Angela, I would like to know how to fix that A on the right tops of the screen.
The right top of the screen. On which screen? On Figma, we have the
Oh, that A represents the person on the file. So right now the A next to Angela, the next to the share button is basically because Angela's in the Figma. So that's like representing her. So I don't know if you can fix it.
Can you guys hear me? Hi.
Oh, we can hear you now. Yes.
Oh, awesome. So actually, I'm talking about the A question mark that is on the second side. If you see beside share button, we have this screen show button, right? The arrow button.
Oh, the one with the fonts. She wants to talk about the
Yeah,
fonts.
yeah, this fonts button. Actually, I'm not able to fix it. Like, do we need to install something?
Wait, what are you? I'm sorry, can you explain that again?
Oh
No,
yeah,
Angela, do you see the prototype button that clicks play?
Oh, yeah.
Click the
Oh, the A
A.
question.
yeah, this one. Yes.
Oh, missing fonts. Oh, yes. Okay, so if you can't like access some of the fonts, you do have to download them. But you can also try to replace them with another font you have on your computer already.
Oh, okay. Actually, how to download it? I'm not able to figure this out. Because if you're working in collaboration, then some of your teammates have used some fonts and then.
Oh, yeah. Usually if I ever encounter this problem, I literally just Google like Circular Pro on Google and download it.
Oh, amazing. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hey, Angela, I think that wraps up Figma Fridays for this week.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone who came. And for those of you watching the recording, we hope to see you next week.
Yeah, thank you guys. See you.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.